What is up, health enthusiasts? It's Coach Lambie here with Working Weights LLC, your guide to strength, health, and all things nutrition. I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Dwayne Ulrich, aka Poppy Dwirl.
What up?
And today we are talking about
The food pyramid.
The food pyramid.
The food pyramid.
The food pyramid.
This food pyramid.
The food pyramid.
Food pyramid.
All right, Dwayne, what do you think about that?
The food pyramid, baby. I think that's what I'm. It's a clue. It's a clue.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing it's a food pyramid. I'm a smart man.
Talking about the food pyramid today. But first,
That's a song talking about the food pyramid.
reels from my wife.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Right there.
When he loves your curves.
That's right, baby. That's right. Look at that smile. Mhm.
That unrolls into a chessboard, and the chess pieces are all different kinds of mushrooms. The mushrooms are designed from real photo scans of actual mushrooms, and once you're done playing, you can just roll up your board and be on your way. I designed a 3D printable log that unrolls into a chessboard, and the chess pieces are all different kinds of mushrooms. The mushrooms are designed from real photo scans of actual mushrooms, and once you're done playing, you can just roll up your board and be on your way.
That's pretty nifty. I've
Kind
been
of disturbing.
yeah, so
You've been
I'm
what?
building a 3D printer, and I've been doing a whole bunch of printing, and so she's been wanting me to print a bunch of stuff for her. So kids are their problems, and their mom doesn't listen either.
Yeah.
Oh, this guy's
Gonna take a nap. Can you wake me up in 20 minutes? Yeah, sounds good. It's 2:10 right now, so 2:30? Yeah, just don't let me sleep any longer. All right, I'll be back up then. It's been 20 minutes. Are you shitting me? I'm literally sleeping. Oh,
Truth. That is so true.
one more. Not as funny. Hold on, we got to end on a better note than that.
All right, here we go.
yeah, it's T for trauma, H for hopelessness, O for oh boy, M for melancholy, A for anguish, and S for sorrow. Yeah, it's Thomas. Yeah. My day has been fine. Thank you for asking. Mhm.
Okay. All right, good stuff. At
can-
least there's no husband bashing this time.
Can you spell intervention?
Intervention. Yeah. I for intervention.
I
N
for intervention.
narcissism. All right, man. So we're gonna go over the food pyramid today, and so this is another thing that I found come up in the social medias. It just doesn't seem to go away. Is that the food pyramid is this horrible, horrible thing?
Yeah.
So I, as everyone can see from the introduction there, I put together a little compilation of things, and I kind of just picked a few of the major objections that people have to the food pyramid. So let's go over maybe the first one here, huh?
By officially recommending a low-fat diet,
That a low-fat diet is good for your health.
Low fat or fat free foods.
on a carbohydrate heavy dietary pathway.
All right. So one of the major objections here is that the food pyramid told us to eat a low-fat diet. And so I guess we need to talk about that. So I went through and I found the dietary guidelines. So that the food pyramid, came out in 1992. From 1992 to 2011. It had a few changes in between that time, but it was basically a pyramid. So I went through and I found the dietary guidelines from 1990, the dietary guidelines from 1995, and the dietary guidelines from, oh, come on, 2000. Okay. And so the food pyramid came out in 1992, and everyone's objections are basically that the food pyramid was based on prior research and everything. So the guidelines from 1990 should, give us some indication as to what that was based on. Now, if we look here, we can see that they said choose a diet low in fat, saturated fat, and cholesterol. Right? That's 1990. 1995, choose a diet low in fat, saturated fat, and cholesterol. And then in 2000, they changed the word to moderate in total fat. Okay, so 1990, 1995, they did say choose a diet low in fat. And then in 2000, they changed that to moderate in fat. Now, these words are meaningless unless we know how much fat that is, right? So what are they complaining about? What constitutes low fat, moderate fat, and all that stuff? So
Fair.
total fat, okay. So in 1990, for your example, at 2,000 calories per day, your suggested upper limit from fat would be 67 grams. All right.
Yep.
They're saying 30% or less of calories would be considered a low-fat diet. So 2,000 calories would be 67 grams. So then we go to 1995. All right, so 1995, we can see total fat intakes at different calorie levels. Now, they don't have 2,000 on here, but they have 2,200, and that's 73. Actually, look here, they do. For example, at 2,000 calories a day, suggested upper limit of fat would be around 65 calories. Or 65 grams.
Yeah.
All right. So about the same for 2,000 calories.
Yep.
And then 2,000, how much fat did they recommend for a moderate?
I'm betting it's going to be real close. Oh, look at that.
Exactly the same. Okay. So people are upset about this word low. Maybe they're happy with the word moderate. Oh, I'm fine if they recommended a moderate fat diet. However, the total amount of grams of fat that's been recommended over those years. And then we've also done, right, our most recent dietary guidelines and the 1977 dietary guidelines. And the recommendations on total fat haven't really changed.
Nope.
It's 30% of intake.
Yep.
All right. So, if you're going to complain about the word low, then you're going to have to define what that means. And you're going to have to bring up some evidence that this level of fat causes issues.
I'm going to venture to say that overall, the food pyramids and the dietary recommendations over the years since 1992 to 2000 to the 2000 food pyramid, they're not really that much different, even in quantities and grams. Just saying.
Yeah, they're not that much different. We have a little infographic here, the difference between the original food guide pyramid, and then it changed later to my pyramid, right? And so people have an objection to these fats and everything being at the top. Yeah, so
I'm out of
people have an
control,
issue
people.
with fats and oils being used sparingly, being at the top here. This is the least amount of stuff that you can have. Well, I mean, like you're gonna have to show why that's an issue. You can't just complain about it. Oh, they recommended a low-fat diet. Okay, so what?
I've looked at some of the pyramids.
So what?
I've looked at some of the pyramids over time, and from 92 till 2000, and different places. And so fats they also lump sugars into that. So fats and sugars.
Yeah.
Okay, that's odd, but okay.
Decrease your intake of sugar, which, yeah, we'll get into that. So, all right. So they recommended a low-fat diet. So yes, in the beginning, they used the word choose a low-fat diet. It then changed later to moderate fat diet. However, the percentage of fat that makes up your total intake from 1977 all up until now really hasn't changed.
Yep.
That word to describe how much it is has changed. And people don't seem to have an issue with the word moderate, but they don't know, they can't give you an amount that they're looking for. They just complain, oh, they recommended a low-fat diet.
Rates of obesity and diabetes have skyrocketed.
Coincided with a steady increase in the diabetes epidemic.
The root cause behind America's steady rise in obesity and diabetes.
Americans are more obese and sicker than ever.
Obesity rates have increased ever since the introduction of the food pyramid.
Right in the middle of an obesity epidemic.
People have been getting fatter in a catastrophic way. It's a veritable epidemic of obesity and diabetes.
Another thing here, as I'm putting this together, and you may be noticing, I had about 25 videos that I was scrolling through, and you could probably tell just from the few little clips of compilations, it's all the same video.
Yes, it is.
Nobody had something original to offer.
Not a thing. The only thing
which-
different was Dude's cabin with the
Yeah.
firewood in the background.
Which goes back to our 4-part series on not repeating what you hear on the internet.
Yes.
Okay, so the food pyramid, the introduction of the food pyramid caused this epidemic of obesity and diabetes. Now, I didn't pull it up, but I can link to our episode in the 1977 dietary guidelines. Obesity and diabetes was described as an epidemic then, okay? And the same people who will complain that the food pyramid caused the obesity epidemic when talking about the 1977 dietary guidelines will also claim that those caused the obesity epidemic. So which one is it? Right?
Yes, that's the question.
And when it comes to obesity and the dietary guidelines, here's our 2020 to 2025 dietary guidelines. And then we can see this goes all the way back to 2005. I don't imagine that before that there's much difference here, but adherence to the dietary guidelines at best is 60%. Okay, so
At best.
people on average at best are 60% adherent to dietary guidelines. Okay, so number one, if the dietary guidelines, if the food pyramid caused the obesity epidemic, you're going to have to show that people were quite adherent to it. 60% isn't going to get you there. Okay.
Right.
Because it could very well be that other 40% of non-adherence was causing the issue. We also have, we went over this before too, compliance with U.S. government nutrition advice and concurrent obesity trends using the Nurses' Health Study data, where they looked at nurses in the Nurses' Health Study who were compliant with the dietary guidelines, like up to 60% about, and those who weren't. And the difference in BMI between compliers and non-compliers really wasn't that different. And the rate of increase in obesity between compliers and non-compliers wasn't that different. Now, when it comes to talking about compliance, what people are talking about is compliance to saturated fat, cholesterol, and total fat recommendations.
Yes.
But when we go to the dietary guidelines, what do the dietary guidelines recommend for maintaining a healthy weight? Do they recommend saturated fat, cholesterol, and total fat? Or do they recommend, I think it's on page 18 here, page 8, maintaining a healthy weight, how to increase calorie expenditure. So the main thing that the dietary guidelines recommend for maintaining weight is calories, right? And so how to increase calorie expenditure, they recommend being more physically active, physical activity, exercise, walking daily, right? What do we have? Standing quietly, light activity, moderate activity, strenuous activity. Let's go to the next one. This is 1995. Balance the food you eat with physical activity, maintain or improve your weight. how to maintain your weight. In order to stay in the same body weight, you must balance the amount of calories in the foods and drinks they consume with the amount of calories the body uses. Physical activity is an important way to use food energy. Now, they do recommend reducing the amount of fat and sugar in your diet as a means of reducing calorie intake. That's where the total fat recommendation comes in. Right? And we can see the BMI scales here. Now, is the BMI scale the best thing for people to use? Probably not. But they also have recommendations on how to measure your waist and checking your weight every day. Recommendations if you need to lose weight. All right. How to decrease calorie intake. Eat a variety of foods that are low in calories and high in nutrients. Eat less fat and fewer high-fat foods. Eat smaller portions and limit second helpings. Eat more fruits and vegetables. Eat rice, breads, and pastas without fats and sugars. Eat less sugar, fewer sweets. Drink less or no alcohol. All right. So as far as obesity goes, you know, the recommendations are, hey, you need to limit your calorie intake and you need to increase your calorie expenditure. As we know from multiple lines of evidence here, the amount of calories consumed has increased dramatically over the years. People are not adhering to those recommendations.
Yep. It's so easy to tank a bunch of calories. You won't even recognize it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I just for myself, I was well, there were times in my life when I would eat and I thought I'm eating pretty conservatively. Then I'd go to Chronometer and it'd be like, dude, that was like 3,500 calories. I was like, what? It's interesting also, I just want to throw this out there, is that as a younger man, I had trouble putting weight on. I was super skinny, just super skinny. And I ate like a hog. I went one day to my doctor and I said, Doc, I feel like I need to put some weight on. And he said, why? You look great. I said, well, I just, I feel like maybe I just kind of want to maybe get a little stronger. I feel like maybe I'm not really fit, and and I just want to put some more weight on. He goes, you look fine. You're not having any problems. All your numbers look good. You look great. I said, well, but what if I want to put on a little bit more weight? And he said, it's simple. This was like in 1980. He said, eat more calories in, fewer calories out, you gain weight. Fewer calories in, more calories out, you lose weight. It's that simple. I didn't pay attention to the food pyramid. Just saying.
Yeah, almost nobody did.
I know. I don't think anybody really does now, honestly. People feed their family what they can afford or what they can gather, and
so that's it. Yeah, that speaks to the other part of this obesity thing. So people want to say that the food pyramid has caused the obesity crisis. Well, number one, the recommendations from the dietary guidelines. And then another thing, people are just looking at the infographic, right? Not realizing that the infographic has a citation to the dietary guideline, which is what we're looking at now. So no one is reading the dietary guidelines. All these people who have issues with the food pyramid are not reading the dietary guideline that comes with it.
Yes.
As we're, figuring out, and it's going to become very, very apparent here on our next objection, debunking this next objection, which is the main objection people have. But if you're going to say the food pyramid caused this obesity crisis, well, the recommendation is to decrease calorie intake, increase calorie expenditure. So you're going to have to make the case that people are actually doing that. That evidence doesn't exist. The evidence exists that people are more sedentary and they're consuming more calories, which is the exact opposite of what the recommendations are to maintain healthy weight.
Yes. And people will say, oh, I see people running all the time. I just, everybody in my neighborhood runs. Do you run? Are you running?
Yeah.
You see the same people running all the time. My neighbor doesn't run.
Yeah. Are they?
They don't run.
No, yeah, people aren't physically active, and you know what I mean? Like everything we do is meant to be easier and
Yes.
have less physical exertion.
Yes.
All right, so let's move on to our next objection here, final objection.
Called on Americans to eat 6 to 11 servings of carbs a day. 6 to 11 servings of bread, cereal, rice, and pasta.
6 to 11 serves.
6 to 11 servings of bread, cereal, rice, and pasta per day.
Carbs on carbs on carbs. 6 to 11 servings a day.
6 to 11 servings of grains and carbohydrates a day.
All right, man, 6 to 11 servings per day.
Hmm.
6 to, that's what the food guide, the food pyramid recommended. All right, let's get into it, shall we? All right, now the 1990 dietary guidelines do not have a food guide pyramid. They do have some grain recommendations in here. Okay, choose a diet, plenty of vegetables, fruits, and grain products. That's page 18. Let's go to page 18. All right, choose a diet, plenty of vegetables, fruits, and grain products. It recommends at least 6 servings of grain products, such as bread, cereals, pastas, and rice, with an emphasis on whole grains. See the box on page 20 for what to count as a serving. Okay, so in 1990, they said at least 6 servings of grain products, such as bread, cereal, pasta, and rice, right?
Mhm.
1995, we actually get our food guide pyramid here, and it does say 6 to 11 servings there. All right, and in 2000, same thing here, 6 to 11 servings. So we have 2 questions. How much is a serving? And is 6 to 11 servings the recommendation for everyone? Because that would be the objection. The food guide pyramid recommended everyone eats 6 to 11 servings per day. All right, so in 1990, we have our daily food guide. We have our food group here, bread, cereals, pastas, 6 to 11 servings, to see page 20. And then we see eat a variety of foods daily, choosing different foods from each group. Most people should have at least the lower number of servings suggested from each food group. Some people may need more because of their body size and activity level. And young children should have a variety of foods, but may need small servings. Okay, so is 6 to 11 servings in 1990, is that the recommendation for everyone? We can see that that is no, right? So most people should have at least the lower limit. And some people, very, very large people and very, very active people may need closer to the upper limit. And then young children are going to need smaller portions. Okay, so 1995, choose most of your foods from the grain products, 6 to 11 servings, vegetable 3 to 5, fruit 2 to 4. Okay, and then we have a note. The range of servings is given for each food group. The smaller number, so 6, is for people who consume about 1,600 calories a day, such as many sedentary women. The larger number, 11, is for those who consume about 2,800 calories a day, such as active men. Okay, so in 1995, is the recommendation everyone eats 6 to 11 servings? No. The recommendation is on calorie intake and size and activity.
Right.
All right, and then in 2000, from the food group, bread, cereal, rice, and pasta, servings per day, 6 to 11. Who should be consuming 6 servings of grains, breads, pasta, cereal, or rice? Children ages 2 to 6 years, women, some older adults, or those consuming about 1,600 calories. Who should be consuming 11? Teen boys and active men, or people consuming about 2,800 calories. Okay. So on the basis of everybody is recommended 6 to 11 servings of grains per day, no. Everyone was not given that recommendation. The recommendation is based on age, body weight, and activity levels, and calorie intake. Right? 6 to 11.
Yes.
6 to 11. So if you're smaller, you're younger, you're more sedentary, you would be consuming closer to 6. If you are larger, you're a little bit older, and you're very, very active, you would be consuming closer to 11. Now, to your questions, how much is a serving? We're not going to go back and forth through all of these things because the amount hasn't changed that much. All right. So how much is a serving? What counts as a serving? These are from 2000. It's no different from the 1995 and the 1990. So how much is a serving? 1 slice of bread. That's 1 serving.
Mhm.
1 cup of ready-to-eat cereal. Now, in 1995, it does say 1 ounce, which is about 1 cup
Right.
average of ready-to-eat cereals.
Right.
Or half a cup of cooked cereal. So that would be oatmeal or muesli or something like that.
Mhm.
Cooked rice or cooked pasta.
Mhm.
So I have a 1 ounce of my Premier Protein
Mhm.
cardboard. That's 1 ounce. That's 1 serving. Regular old Cheerios. This is 1 ounce or about a cup of Cheerios. All right. My food scale to show you that I actually weighed them out, 28 grams being 1
Right.
ounce.
Right.
Okay. If you were not someone who used a food scale and you were just measuring out 1 cup, which no one is measuring out their breakfast cereals, right?
Nope. Nope.
Here's a standard measuring cup. That's 1 serving. Okay. So that is for the pre-prepared breakfast cereals and such. Now remember, our cooked grains, such as oatmeal, rice, or pasta, 1 serving is half a cup.
Wow. Wow.
Okay. So how much cereal do you think you pour in a bowl, Dwayne? Looking at these measurements now, how many servings would you think you put in a bowl for cereal?
4 ounces. 4 cups.
About 4 servings.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Yep.
That's just my first round. That's my first round. I'll knock that out I'll have about 1 ounce left, and I'm going back because I still have milk.
Mm-hmm.
Then I got to fill out the rest of that milk. So I'll put maybe 2 more in there, and boom, 6.
Boom. That's 6. So, right there, can we say people are adherent to the serving recommendations?
No.
Absolutely not. Okay. So let's think this through here. So 6 to 11 servings per day. Let's just think about the bottom end of this. If I had a young child, age 2 to 6, which I do, and the recommendation is for them to get 6 servings. We now know what 6 servings is. And let's say I prepare some Cheerios for her in the morning. Okay. And she's going to kill 3 servings of Cheerios easily.
Yep.
Okay. So we're already halfway there. Now let's say I make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich for her. 2 slices of bread. That's 2 servings. We're
2
at 5.
servings. Yep.
And then for dinner, she can have half a cup of pasta, cooked pasta.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. Does that seem like an
It's not
enormous amount of carbohydrates per day?
No, that's not excessive at all. No. That's the norm. That's the norm.
Right. That's not even that's far less than the norm, because most people would be given, right, on top of that, you would get some crackers or something as a snack throughout the day.
Or even a cup of cereal, like a plastic cup of cereal, because I know someone in my family unit extension, and they give their children a cup that's got cereal in it. So they're snacking away on that.
Snacking away on that. Macaroni and cheese, right?
Macaroni
so
and
how
cheese.
much are people giving their kids this much macaroni and cheese?
No,
no, absolutely not. All right. So are people adherent to the recommendations?
No.
No. Oh my goodness, no.
No.
Absolutely ludicrous. All right. So, all right. Now the compilation there, 6 to 11, 6 to 11 servings, 6 to 11 servings, 6 to 11 servings, 6 to 11 servings. I can't begin to tell you how nerve grating that got hearing from 25. Right. And I just had to cut it down. As I was chopping these videos up to make this compilation, I was like, I can't do this. It's just the same thing over and over and over. People just, and so as we can see from here, and we're going to find out in the next one, I said that the last objection was the last one. The next one, it comes with the carbohydrate thing. People aren't reading the ding thing. Right?
Yes.
All right, let's do the last one.
No distinction made between refined grains like white bread and whole grains like whole wheat bread.
Without distinguishing between complex carbs found in whole grains and oats and simple carbs found in things like white bread and baked goods.
Feast of refined carbs and sugars.
The pyramid's authors actually knew this at the time, but they thought keeping their guidelines simple was important, so they left that part out.
No distinction between whole grains and refined grains, and they purposely left that part out. Right? All right, so
It's a
our
conspiracy.
1990 dietary guidelines recommends at least 6 servings of grain products such as bread, cereals, pastas, and rice, with an emphasis on whole grains.
Mm, mm, mm.
So our 1995 dietary guidelines choose a diet with plenty of grain products, vegetables, and fruits. And they want to emphasize this in the guidelines. They contain complex carbohydrates such as starch and dietary fiber. Complex carbohydrates such as starch and dietary fiber. And they want to include grain products high in complex carbohydrates. What are those? Starch and dietary fiber. Where is fiber found? Only in plant foods like whole grain breads and cereals.
Mhm.
And in the year 2000, choose a variety of grains daily, especially whole grains.
Wow. Wow. Anybody can make a video, I think.
All right. So yeah. So I brought this up. We keep seeing the food guide. Well, at least I do, because I'm somewhat active in social media, and I keep seeing it brought up, and all these objections are placed. No one is reading the thing.
I'm stunned. I don't know why, but I am stunned. It's just,
I
come
mean,
on,
you've heard these
people.
objections before, right?
Yes, Lord,
Yeah.
yes, yes, yes. Heck, for that matter, people don't read the, they don't read the, they read the labels on the back of some of the cans. They look for like obscure numbers, and then they're really not taking the time to read and understand what the label even says.
No.
It's just, you're
People
killing
are
me.
people choose their food based on taste and convenience.
Yeah,
Most of the time. I mean, that's how we're choosing what to do.
that's right.
But so this is hopefully by now this is, I think, what, our third look at dietary guidelines here.
Yes, I think it is.
The dietary guidelines are awesome.
They
okay.
are. They
People who
are.
have objections to them are stupid.
Yep.
And they're not looking it up. They heard somebody else say it, and they're like, oh, I'm a nutrition expert now because I heard somebody else say this, so I'm going to repeat it.
Yeah, and before you people mounted a campaign about, oh, he said we're stupid, have you read the dietary guidelines? And then compare them, and then get back to us. So
Yeah, the dietary guidelines are based. The food pyramid was awesome. Just knock it off.
yeah, absolutely.
All right. Okay.
Cool.
Well, that's it. That concludes it from here. Hopefully, I mean, like, we can just put this dietary guideline thing to rest. If you eat the dietary, what's funny, that video where he says that they left it out and it has all the ominous music playing in the background?
Right.
He actually starts that video with Oprah Winfrey, like back in the 80s when she lost a whole bunch of weight and she was really, really thin. And she pulled out a cart filled with animal fat. And he basically proved the case that if you adhere to the dietary guidelines, you can lose a bunch of weight.
Oh my gosh.
Because the
What?
first 30 seconds of his video debunks his whole video.
Hypocrite. Hypocrite.
Yeah. All right.
That's funny.
Okay. Well, hopefully minds were blown today. Yes, the dietary guidelines recommend for you to maintain healthy body weight. They tell you how to do it. The amount of fat hasn't changed since like 1970. And it does emphasize whole grains. It does differentiate between the two. So,
Yes.
the next
Yes.
time somebody says that, you can find all of this stuff, by the way, at dietaryguidelines.gov.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
where all of these things are. You can all the way back through. That's how I find all of them.
Yep.
And they have them by year when they came out: 1990, 1995, 2000, 2005, I think. And then you have I can't remember the ones after that. But then 2020 to 2025. So that's that. I hope you guys get something from this and stop complaining about the food pyramid. It's not the food pyramid didn't cause your problems. All right. Coach Lambie and Dwayne out.
See ya.